A very good morning to my dear students, and I am again happy to welcome you all in this Tuesday's class. And in this class we will learn botany, and it will be chapter 1, the topic conducting tissues in plants. Already we have started chapter 1 in our previous botany class, and in today's class let's continue the chapter, and the topic we are going to focus today is about the conducting tissues in plants. What is conduction? Usually in physics they use this word conduction to refer transfer of heat. Right. In biology, what is called conduction? Conduction is, or conducting tissues means, the tissues have the ability to transfer some substances from one place to another. Conducting tissues means conducting tissues have the ability to transfer certain substances from one place to another. Okay. So, what are they going to transfer? How will they transfer? All will be learning in today's class. Okay. So, we will start with the substances to be transferred. So, I told you conducting tissues are the tissues which have the ability to transfer substances from one place to another. So, what substances they will transfer? They can transfer two substances. One is food and the second one is water. So, conducting tissues in plant can transfer food, they can transfer water. Okay. So, these two they can transfer. So, conducting tissues include, so repeatedly I am using this word conducting tissues. No, what are they? They include two parts, that is one xylem and second one is phloem. So, here pH should be pronounced as F. Okay, phloem. It is not phloem or something, it is phloem. Okay. So, the two conducting tissues in plants are xylem and phloem. What have we learned? Conducting tissues have the ability to transfer substances from one place to another. What substances they transfer? They either transfer food or they transfer water. So, the two conducting tissues inside a plant are xylem and phloem. And now together this xylem and phloem is called as vascular bundles. You have a name when you put xylem and phloem together, you have a special term called as vascular bundles. So, what is a vascular bundles? Vascular bundle is equal to xylem plus phloem. You call by the term as vascular bundle for this xylem and phloem. And then where it is present. So, you will get in mind, no, where can I see these structures, xylem and phloem? It is present in three parts, in the roots, in the shoots as well as in the leaves. Where are they present? Xylem and phloem you can see in the roots, in the shoots and also in the leaves. Okay. So, conducting tissues conduct food and water. There are two types of conducting tissues in your not in your body, in plants structure. One is xylem, the other one is phloem. Xylem and phloem together is called by a term called as vascular bundles, and these xylem and phloem are located in three parts in a plant. First is the roots, the second one is the shoot and the third one is the leaves. In all these three places you can find xylem and phloem. Okay. So, next we learn about xylem. What it conducts? Actually, xylem has a separate function and phloem has a separate function. Okay. Xylem, just keep in mind, xylem can carry only water and phloem can carry only food. Phloem, F for food. Okay. So, phloem for food and xylem for water. Just keep these two concepts in mind, because even when you grow up in your higher grades also, you will get these two questions repeatedly. How is water conducted? Xylem conducts water, or xylem transfers water within a plant, and also phloem transfers food within a plant. Okay, these two you have to keep in mind. So what it conducts? Xylem can carry water, and also you know minerals are always dissolved in water. So when they carry water, along with the water they can also carry minerals. So indirectly they can conduct water. Okay, carry, the word you should not mention, you have to use the word conduct because it is a conducting tissue. So what does a xylem conduct? It conducts water. Along with the water it can also conduct minerals. Then see, there are two colored arrow marks, right? One is blue in color and the other one is orange in color. So the blue color denotes the direction of water by the xylem. So blue is for xylem and orange is going to be for phloem. So blue for xylem. Okay. So what did I tell? Xylem conducts water. See, from the ground the xylem conducts water, and what it does, it is unidirectional. What is uni? Uni means one, right? Uni is one. Direction means in which direction it moves. So xylem can conduct or carry the water only in one direction. Which direction? In upward direction. See this image. So I told you blue color is for xylem, right? So xylem takes water from the ground and just it carries in one direction only. It is unidirectional. It is all in the upward direction alone. Okay. So now from where to where you should know. From where it is taking? From the roots to where it gives to aerial parts of the plant. What is aerial? Anything above the ground level is called aerial. So the xylem takes water from the roots and gives to the aerial parts, all parts of the plant which is above the ground level. Okay. So this is about xylem. So next, okay, before that, this water which the xylem carries from the root to all the parts, that water is no longer called water because inside the plant when you pour only you call it as water. Once it enters into the plant, you do not call it as water, you call it by a term called as ascent of sap. That is, it moves, no, that movement is called, movement of that water is called sap, that is ascent of sap. That liquid is called sap, ascent means it is going upwards. So this movement of water within the plant from the root to all parts of the plant body is called as ascent of sap. You should be familiar with this term. Ascent means moving upward. Sap is the water which is moving upward. So this is about xylem, and next we learn about phloem. So I am going to display the same picture again. Yeah. What phloem conducts? I already told you. F for food, I told you, right? So xylem always carry water, phloem always carry food. Where is the food in plant? Are you providing food daily for the plant? No. Plant itself produces food, right? How it produces food? It produces food by a process called as photosynthesis, right? So by photosynthesis, the plant already produces food, and that food is carried by who? This phloem. Okay. So here I told you the orange color shows the direction of flow of food by the phloem. So blue was for xylem and orange is phloem. You can see you have upward arrow mark as well as you have downward arrow mark. What does this mean? It is bidirectional. The flow of food in the xylem is bidirectional. It can take the food also in upward direction and also it can take the food in downward direction. Why it has to take the food in downward direction? Because in some plants, if you see, like potato plants, all see in this example it is given, the food is stored in the tube in the form of tubers, that is either as potato or carrot or something. Where it is stored in the root, right? The root only provides you potato or other tubers. So the leaf produces, by photosynthesis it produces food and it sometimes give to the root. For that it needs to move in the downward direction, no? That's why it can also move in downward direction and upward direction. Sometimes most of the fruits are in the stem only, right? In the near the leaves only you find, that is in the upper portion of the plant. So in that case what it will do, it will produce the food in the leaf and it gives to the stem or other portion of the plant. So you should know organic food is produced by photosynthesis in the leaves, and either it is carried to the upper region in the upward direction, or it is carried to downward region, that is to the root in the downward direction. That's why the arrow mark is both, see, towards the fruit here and also towards the tuber here. Okay, so this is direction of flow. And then from where to where? From where to where the phloem can conduct? Number one, I told you from leaves. Why from leaves? Because leaves is the place where photosynthesis happens. So from the leaves to, there are two options, either to the stem or to the root. So this I have already explained you. And this process of movement of food from the leaves to other parts of the plant is called translocation. Okay, so in xylem what term did you study? Ascent of the sap we studied, right? What is that? Movement of water from the root to all aerial parts is called ascent of sap. In this case, movement of food from the leaves to either the stem or root is called translocation. The food is transferred to or conducted to some other part of the plant, then it is called translocation. If water is moved, it is called ascent of the sap, and if food is moved, it is called translocation. So until now we have learnt about the functions of xylem and functions of phloem, right? So now we learn about the detailed structure of xylem, how a xylem actually looks, or what are all the parts of the xylem and phloem we learn in detail. Actually xylem is made up of 4 parts called as tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fiber. So what are the 4 parts of xylem? Tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fiber. So it looks, the tracheids look like this. So this is the structure of, it is not the structure of entire xylem, it is the structure of tracheids. Okay. So what is the description you need to know about tracheids? Tracheids are elongated. What is elongation? Something so long, right? So it is elongated, it is long. It is hollow. What is hollow? Hollow means there is empty space in between. See, inside there is empty space, there is nothing inside, so it is called hollow. Then it is dead, it is not at all alive. Tracheids are dead cells. I told you already, right? Either in plants, in many cells are dead, but they will stick on to the plant forever. Only some cells are alive and they will be functioning. One such structure is tracheid. They have dead cells, and then they are lignified. Lignified means the cell wall is made up of a substance called as lignin. Whose cell wall? Tracheid's cell wall is made up of lignin. Then it has tapering ends. Tapering means the size becomes smaller towards the end. See, it is thinner towards the end. It is not small, it is thin towards the end. Here also you can see tapering ends, that is thinning of the ends. So these are all the properties of tracheids. What have we studied? The structure of xylem is made up of 4 parts together. One is tracheids, the second one is vessels, the third one is xylem parenchyma, and the fourth one is xylem vessels. Okay, so in tracheids it is a elongated structure, it is hollow or empty inside so that water will pass through it. And then why it is empty? If there is a gap, only water can pass, no? What is the function of xylem? It has to pass or conduct a water, right? So here, since the structure is hollow, water can move towards the interior of the tracheids. And I told it is dead cells, and the cell wall is made up of a substance called as lignin, and it has tapering or thin ends. So these are all the properties of tracheids, and the properties of vessels and xylem parenchyma all we will study in the next slide. So next, the structure of vessels. This is the structure of vessels. What is the property? One, it is tube-like structure. See, you can see it is like a water pipe, right? It is a tube-like structure. The second property is it is placed end to end. See, always it occurs attached to each other, whereas in tracheids you saw just they were not this attached. No, see, it is fully attached to the next. This is one vessel and this is the next vessel. Always vessels are arranged like packed together. They are placed end to end. First property is they are like tubes. Second property is they stick to each other. They are placed end to end, and it is, since it is like a pipe, where to where it connects. Say for example, if you have a pipe in the garden, you connect to the tap and the outlet will be towards the plant, right? So similarly, this pipe, from where to where it connects the root and the shoot. From the ground, it connects, this pipe starts from the ground and ends in the stem. Okay, shoot means stem. So it connects, this pipe like structure connects the root and the shoot. And then we learn about the properties of xylem parenchyma. There are two more parts, not tracheids we finished in the previous slide, and about vessels what we have studied. Totally they are pipe like and they are always placed end to end, attached to each other, and since it is like a pipe, it starts from the root and ends in the shoot. What two remaining properties we have, structures we have, we didn't study about xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. No, I will teach together so that you can compare and study xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. Okay, the first comparison is xylem parenchyma is thin. Okay, they have thin cell walls. This one has thick cell walls. Xylem fibers have thick cell walls. Xylem parenchyma have thin cell walls. This is the first property. The second property is xylem parenchyma has full of living cells. Xylem fibers have full of dead cells. So here you have living cells, here you have dead cells. What was the first comparative property? This one had, the xylem parenchyma had thin cell wall and xylem fibers had thick cell walls. The second comparison is xylem parenchyma is made up of living cells and xylem fibers are made up of dead cells. The third comparison is their functions. This xylem parenchyma's function is to store food. Okay, then transferring the food, the main property is to store the food. It will store the food temporarily. Which one? Xylem parenchyma. This one usually, see this is unique because the function is to conduct water, right? What is the function of xylem? It's to conduct water, but this parenchyma region alone has the ability to store food. And the function of xylem fiber is to give strength or mechanical support, to make it erect. This xylem fiber will help. So how we compared and studied? The first one is about the cell wall. This is thin and this is thick. And then about living or dead, this one parenchyma is living, fiber is dead. Functions, this stores food and this one gives support to the plant. Okay, so this is all about the structure of xylem. In the end, the last topic. Okay, before that I didn't explain you this. Older xylem, what does it mean? See, plants, no, some trees especially live for many hundreds of years together, no. So after some stage, but as the cells die, they are not thrown out. So daily morning, do you see old cells near the tree or the plant? No, right? Only leaves will wither and fall down. So all these dead cells they remain in the plant itself. Okay, that's why you have like this circles in the wood. When you cut the wood, you can see many ring like structures. No, it is called as annular rings. Actually, by counting the number of rings, no, you can calculate the number of years the plant has lived. That is, you can compare the age of the plant by counting the rings. Okay, so in old xylem, that is after xylem is becoming old after many years, you can see the xylem as wood. What we call wood, no, it is actually the old xylem with full of dead cells. So since it is all dead, usually the property of xylem is to conduct water, right? But this old xylem or dead xylem, which is called as wood, will not conduct water. Can you, if you cut the wood, wood is dry, right? It is, you cannot see water flowing, whereas other stem, fresh stem, all if you cut, you can see some liquid like portion oozing out. Okay, because it is alive. But when it is dead, even when you cut, it is dry in nature because it is full of dead cells and they do not conduct water after many years. So wood is of commercial importance, that is, people can either sell the wood and make money, so it is called of commercial importance. So in this slide what you have studied, after some age when the xylem becomes very old, it is called by the term wood, which you can use for commercially you can use, and you have in the wood something called as annular rings. You can count the number of rings and you can tell how old the plant is. Next we learn about phloem. Similar to xylem, phloem also have 4 parts. Okay, in xylem we have seen, no, xylem has 4 parts. No, similarly phloem also have 4 parts. In xylem what we studied 2 parts called as xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers, right? Just replace the word xylem with the word phloem. Okay, now you call this as phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Apart from this, these 2 terms you should remember. One is called sieve tubes, the other one is called companion cells. What are they? Sieve tubes, companion cells. So this is the structure of a phloem. I can show you sieve tubes and companion cells in this. This center portion, no, this is called as sieve tube. This center portion is called sieve tube, and this bulgy region, no, which is swollen like structure sticking on to the sieve tubes is called the companion cells. Okay, so sieve tubes in the center and companion cells sticking on to the sieve tubes is the main structure of phloem. So now we learn what are the functions of or the properties of each part. Okay, so these 2 are easy, like almost the same properties of the xylem only, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers will have. So this you need to study, the properties of sieve tubes. How can you explain a sieve tube? They are vertical columns. Why it is called vertical? If something is in this position, you call it as vertical, and if it is like this, it is horizontal, right? Always phloem tubes exist in vertical position, like this it will exist. They are vertical tubes. Why tubes? Because columns. Why columns? Because when you draw a column also, it will be like lines, no? Inside you will have a parallel space. So similarly they exist in vertical columns. And then they are living cells. They are alive. Older xylem are dead, no? But structure of phloem, if you see, the cells in sieve tubes are alive. They are living cells. And then you can see cytoplasm inside, but no nucleus. Almost all the cells which will have cytoplasm will have nucleus, right? But this is the exception. These cells, which one, the sieve tubes, will have cytoplasm, but they do not have nucleus. Absence of nucleus is a special property of sieve tubes. Okay. There is one more structure called as perforated discs or sieve plates. What is that? See, you can see disc like structure, no? What is disc? Something like a circle, and perforation is holes. So a disc, a round structure, a plate like structure with many holes in it is called perforated discs. Where are they? See, you can see circular structure with holes. So through the holes the phloem will take the food through the column. So, this is a column like structure, vertical columns with all living cells, and they have cytoplasm and nucleus is absent, and also at regular intervals they have circular discs with holes, that is perforated discs, and the name given to the perforated discs is sieve plates, because it is like a sieve. The rice flour all we used to sieve, right, to make it into smaller particles. Your mom used to sieve. So, it is like that sieve, a disc like structure, circular structure with many holes. So, it is called as sieve plate or perforated discs. So, next we learn about the structure of companion cells and other two, that is phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. So, companion cells, if you see, always they are adjacent to the, see, this is sieve tube and this is companion cells. These are all companion cells. So, they are adjacent to sieve tubes. Adjacent means it is near or close to the sieve tubes. So, always companion cells are adjacent to sieve tubes. Then they are the functional units of phloem. Companion cells are functional units of phloem. Why so? Because in their absence, though they are companion cells, companion means just supporting cells, right? But if the companion cells are absent, the phloem will not function properly. So, they are called functional units of phloem. Which one? Companion cells. So, the two properties of companion cells, one, always they are adjacent or sticking on to the sieve tubes. Second one, they are the functional units of phloem. I told you the function of phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers is almost similar to the xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. Do you remember the function of xylem parenchyma? What was that? We were talking about thin cell wall and thick cell wall. Do you remember? Similarly, in phloem parenchyma also you have thin cell wall and thick cell wall here, and one more property the same like xylem parenchyma, these are living cells and these are dead cells. And another property similar to xylem fiber is, see, they also support the plants. What did we learn in xylem fibers function? They give mechanical support to the plant was the function of xylem fibers. No? Similarly, the same function phloem fibers also have. What is that function? They also give support to the plant. So, these are all about the functions of the structure and functions of xylem and phloem, that is the conducting tissues. So, that is all for the class today and your homework. So, before that I would like to tell something about the previous homework allotted to you. So, I had given you what was your previous homework? An activity was your homework, right? How many of you had finished that and sent me? Only one student has sent me. Okay. So, for what purpose we give you activity? To time pass or what? No, right? Activities will make you see everything in live. What I am teaching is only theory, right? I just explain you. But when you do some activity, especially in science all, when you do only, you will know that what is happening inside or in reality what is happening. So, when you experiment with the plant only, you can know its property, right? So, you are all young scientists now, right? It is not that you have to do your PhD to become a scientist. Right from now, if you experiment, you start observing things. I told you, you do the experiment and observe by what time you completed it, right? So, for conduction process, how long it takes, you could have observed, right? But one student has done this very beautifully and had sent a picture to me. I was just wondering, because see, it was a very neat work. I will show you the picture also. It was this student again who got first in zoology, Candy Manuel, has finished his project and he has sent me the picture, the only student. See the picture? Beautiful, right? And it's neatly done. All of same type of neat glasses with dye, and see the result. And he has reported that it was 6 hours 30 minutes to complete the experiment. So, a 8th standard student has done a project and has concluded a result. So for the die to come up, it has taken 6 hours was a observation. So you students also please do it. It's not a compulsion all, but it is good for your future. You start observing things and you will know everything in practical, right? So next time when I give you activity, I should get the pictures from all the students, not 1 or 2. Clear? So for today's homework, you will finish this page number 16, question number 1 to 5 you will finish, and you will send me the answer. Okay. So as usual, whoever sends me the first correct answer, I will announce the name in my next class in your botany class. Okay. Don't expect in your zoology class. In your next botany class, I will be announcing the names. Okay, so that's all for today's class, and until I meet you in the next class, take care and bye bye.